Oh, man.
RedBuuuuuud, let's go!
The 21-year-old Australian Jett Lawrence taking Pro Motocross by storm. It's falling apart quickly for the series leader. Jo Shimoda sweeps RedBuuuuuud 2025.
Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome to Title 24, presented by NBC Sports. I'm RV with you guys, as always, today. Before we get going, thank our sponsors, United Motorsports, Quad Lock Case, Boxo, Dunlop, and Cardo. We appreciate you guys. Hopefully everyone had a fun and safe holiday weekend. 4th of July, that's always a fun one, a wild one, that's for sure. I had a great time, RV. I'm sure that you did. And what a better place to celebrate a race and have a race on 4th of July weekend at RedBuuuuuud. I mean, it's been there pretty much when I was racing my whole career. It was during 4th of July weekend, and another hell of a weekend. It was hot, looked like dudes were melting down, bikes melting down. And how about other than the race, before we get into the topics, we got a great show, a lot of fun stuff, some fun edits, the edit room put together. It's going to be a lot of fun. So if you're watching this, you're going to love it. If you're listening to it, you'll probably see it on RV and I's socials. So RV, did you have a good 4th of July? What'd you guys do?
Yeah, man, it was good. Just laid low, did some fireworks with the kids, barbecued, had some friends over, but yeah, it's been a nice like low key time since Mammoth, obviously, and then we're off tomorrow to Wyndham's house. So I'm going to try to pull a good drive tomorrow and Wednesday and get out there, and then we'll be remote for a couple weeks out of the rig and in Centerville, Mississippi, and then Loretta's is right around the corner, biggest AM race in the country.
World. In the world.
So I'll be there. I'm sure you might pop in, maybe not, but yeah, it'll be good. Good time.
I got my adventure ride coming up, so I think it's like right before Loretta. So I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be a lot of fun. We'll be in Sturgis around that area, riding in the Black Hills. So looking forward to it. We're going to stay in Deadwood and just kind of do like Cloverleaf ride. So that should be good. We got a crew coming. I know Stanton and his whole crew is going to be there. And I got some friends coming from Australia. I got a friend coming from Florida.
Oh, that'll be good.
Oh yeah, that'll be a lot of fun. Padge is coming with us.
Good old Padge.
Good old Padge. Eventually, we're gonna get you on that thing.
I know.
Eventually, you got it. You have to ride your Tanneray. So, anyhow, well, cool. I'm glad you had a good 4th. Yeah, mine was chill. We did an impromptu trip. Went down to Harbor Island.
Nice.
Yeah, down in the Bahamas. Super easy, cool little place to go to. Get down there relatively easy. So that's what I did. It was a lot of fun. Anyhow, a hell of a weekend for sure. I thought the track was great. I thought that it was prepped really well. I mean, the Richies put on a hell of an event, just in general. They got it. They do it right. They're always putting resources back into the track, and I really respect a lot of the promoters, especially the Richies. And on top of that, they're great people, but looked like a hell of a turnout. But again, I go back. I loved how the track shaped up. I felt like it had multiple grooves. You didn't have to follow. You could go inside, outside, and it put up for some great racing, is what I thought.
It did. No, it did. RedBuuuud's always a special place to go and race. Number one, the facility, like you said, RC is I'd say one of the best facilities in the United States from a spectator's viewing standpoint. Just how pretty the facility is, all the grass around where everybody gets to park, plus the track. But the track did race well, had multiple lines. And it was technical too. So I really liked the way it raced. We got to see, right, passes were being made from both classes. Jett particularly, coming from 18th. So you could move around and you could make passes.
Yeah, and that's what it's all about. So that was cool. I like how there were some tight corners, off-camber corners as well, and it was just a lot. It was a fun racetrack to watch, I thought. And, they did a great track. It didn't seem like the track in some areas are super fast. Again, some small, tight corners where you can make up time getting in, coming out. I know for you, RV, and for me, like I love stuff like that because it does give you an opportunity to make up a little extra time instead of big, long, sweeping corners. I feel like sometimes it's a little bit harder to make up time. But nevertheless, for the United Motorsports moment of the week had to be Jett Lawrence. I mean, there was a lot of great rides, but Jett continues to dominate. No ifs, ands, or buts about it on a very difficult day, hot, rough. The track was gnarly as we watch. As we're watching right now, he goes down. This is the second moto. Basically comes from 18th to first. Hard fought battle. Gets by best guys in the world. To me, not really a massive surprise, but a hell of a ride to say the least.
No, and I think RC, like we haven't seen Jett make a mistake like that where yes, little tip over. It was on opening laps, right? So that was something different. And he immediately dropped back to 18th place, right? So I think what we saw was an amazing ride by Jett, but not out of the ordinary. I think a guy in his position that makes an opening lap mistake like that puts himself under the gun a little bit, and the cream always rises to the top. And that's, I think, what we saw. Like Jett was he was on rails. He wasn't, in my opinion, just like blowing everybody's doors off, like he was consistently faster everywhere on the track. And maybe it was a little and a lot in some other areas, but just watching him, he navigated through the field like I guess I would expect him to. So I thought it was a great race from a viewer standpoint, from a spectator standpoint, of watching him fall and then being able to come through the pack instead of just pulling the whole shot, winning like he has done so many times from basically the front. It was a big change from the viewers, from the spectator standpoint. I love to see him come through the pack because it made him ride different lines. It made him ride a little bit different. You could see him that he was being smart, but he was a little under pressure, and I thought he rose to the occasion perfectly.
Yeah, and it did, like when I was watching him, RV, it didn't seem like he was in desperation mode. Obviously, he was, he had ratcheted up the intensity. He had to do that. But like what you just said, you're exactly right. Like he was very tactical and kind of patient for the most part with every single one of those passes that he made. Like he didn't go berserk. And he let those guys come to him, and he made the passes nice, smooth, and went on about his race. And it, like, for me, I don't know, like I would kind of go into desperation mode. I'd be taking a little bit more chances. And like what you said, he didn't really seem like that. Again, obviously he's one of those guys, when he's putting forth, 95, 100% effort, you can tell little nuances where he's at, but he still looks smoother than, say, myself personally, when I was going on 95 to 100% for you. Like you could tell that we were exerting a lot of effort. And it, to me too, like it's not a surprise that he came from where he did. And I'm going to tell you straight up, that's no disrespect to his competitors. We talked about it on the show last week, RV. Like the guy is just that good. Remember when we were talking about Eli, and it's like Eli's riding awesome, at least he was at Southwick. It's just, dude, he's racing perhaps one of the best guys to ever ride a dirt bike, and is stacking up some chips and breaking records, and has the tangibles to be the best ever.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think both the boys, both Lawrences, they rode well.
Yeah.
It's just Jett, and the whole field, I should say, the whole field. Prado rode well, but the whole field rode well. But Jett's just like we had talked last week on the show. He is just another level above. But like I said, I'm gonna go back. What I loved seeing was the tip over, and then him fighting through and seeing how he handled all that, because we don't get to see that very often. He's almost perfect most of the time.
Yeah, I know he is. And I'm gonna tell you, dude. There's another question. We'll answer that in a second. Peter Bart's CH07. Is this the most dominant era of motocross with Jett and Deegan, or was Ricky's era better? I'm 18. I'll go ahead and answer that. I mean, I think there's definitely there's more depth in this era than there was certainly in my era. for a 120%. And I raced against great guys, but there's like 5 or 6 more guys, 7 more guys that have a legit opportunity for the most part of winning, whether it's a moto, whether it's an overall, whether it's a supercross. I believe that. I feel like the gap is 10 times closer than it was in my era. I mean, for you, I think that, you've raced the best guys in the world, RV. Like, how do you feel that? Do you feel like this is the most dominant?
I think you're correct on the side of like first through say 10th is closer than first through 10th back in your day, or maybe my day. Like when I raced 450 class, we had 5 that were really eligible or that could win a moto or say an overall or a main event. I think that, but if you go back currently, between Hunter and Jett, they're the only 2 that have won an outdoor overalls so far. I mean, Hunter got High Point, I think, won moto, but ultimately it's been like a Honda sweep so far. So if you go back and look at it from that standpoint, there's not really anybody eligible. Eli won a moto at Hangtown, but I don't think it was the overall. So like, yeah, that you could sprinkle in those odd wins here and there from other manufacturers or other racers. But right now, I wouldn't say it's much different than say your era versus my era versus today, meaning RC was going to win and James would be second, or, or pull somebody else out of Supercross. It was MC or yourself or myself, Dungy, myself and Chad. You only had those odd few that could stick it in there and win. So I still think it's in that regard, it's very similar.
Yeah.
I think first through 10th or first through 12th is probably closer than it was in your era for sure. Yeah. Probably my era too.
Dude, you're exactly right, dude. 100%. Real quick, I was thumbing through our questions. We got some late ones we weren't able to put in the rundown, so I was going through my phone right here. And this is an interesting one, and I feel like you can speak on this. I can speak on this, and probably anyone before our era can speak on this, but it's interesting. Sean Bergman, he writes into us. He says, everyone keeps bringing up Hayden versus Jett. What about the rest of the 450 field? Deegan isn't coming in and smoking everyone else right out of the gate. He is about to be humbled. The reason that we keep talking about Hayden and Jett is because, well, number one, they're both 2-time defending SMX world champions. Deegan did it, I believe, on his rookie year, or his first attempt. Jett did on his first attempt. So number one, they have the right to be talking about that and the buildup of that. I know that I went through it. Now I know how like MC probably felt when I was coming up 2 years before I even got in the premier class. It just, dude, it's been that way in all sports. They kind of leapfrog. Some people take it as disrespect to the other competitors, whether you're an Eli fan, whether you're a Chase fan, whether you're a Hunter fan, or go to the 250s, whether you're a Joe fan or Kitchen fan, or it doesn't matter. Right? You're going to piss somebody off that isn't Jett or isn't Hayden. But let's be honest, those 2 guys, they've won Supercross, they've won outdoor. Dude, they're title for title. They are the guys. So that's why we talk about it. And it's not being disrespect. I feel like, especially, and I don't want to say I want to gloat, but like, I feel like, and you feel like, RV, and speak up whenever you want, that we know who the hell is going to be the contenders, barring no injury. That's what I think.
Yeah. And I think same thing. Like you brought yourself an MC. Well, myself coming off of one light supercross championship, but 3 consecutive outdoor championships. What did all the fans and the spectators have to look for? It was like, okay, RV coming out of the 250 class and going to go race with James, or go race with Chad. And same thing. They're always looking for that. I don't want to use the word underdog, but like looking for the lower class, which is the 250 class. When does Hayden move up, and is he going to be a player? Is he going to be a contender? Based on paper, 100% he is. Mm-hmm. So I think that's the buildup. Like you were talking, RC, like we all have to have this buildup. We're all looking for the next thing, because currently the current situation that is out there in pro motocross and SMX and Supercross is that Jett is the guy, and not many people can beat him unless there's maybe an off day or whatever the case may be. But if you're a betting man, you're betting on Jett winning the championship. So at this point in the 450 paddock, that's, Jett's probably going to win. So I think from a spectator standpoint, you're looking at who's going to be able to match that or race Jett and head-to-head race. And I think we got to lean on Hayden because like you said, the track record of him in the 250 class.
Yep. So good question, Sean. I know, dude, and that's a super hot topic, and it's hard to, it's hard for, I shouldn't say hard for anyone, but it sucks. It's a touchy subject when you talk about another rider and you don't feel like you're coming across disrespectful to the other competitors. And that's not the case, dude. We've praised all the guys on here. Before we do some house cleaning on the 450, go over to unitedmotorsports.com /title 24, enter your email, get a 15% credit towards your first order. Then you'll be automatically entered into weekly drawing for a $50 credit on your next order. Big Ray is going to be on our ride coming up. Big Ray runs United Motorsports. Ray Butts, that is fantastic guy. Moving along, bummer for Eli. Torched his engine, it looks like.
What
do you think?
I don't know. It's interesting. It's not the first time, right? It's the first time for him particularly, but we saw with Cooper, with Cooper Webb at Paula.
Yeah.
Now we have Eli with a malfunction, and then also Hayden's bike. It's been twice now. Now it hasn't let completely go, but Colorado, and then Hayden here, I think it was in Moto 2, right, where we saw some steam and some smoke coming out of his 250. So I was actually told, I think I got this little insight from Bitus because he was announcing all weekend at RedBuud, but he had kind of heard that through the grapevine that, man, the RedBuud track was hard on bikes all weekend.
Yeah.
Which you typically it's Southwick. Southwick's kind of the hardest one that we think of on equipment. But yeah, it was, I heard it was a hard track on equipment. So interesting, total bummer for him. Like I didn't see that. He didn't look like he was overriding the motorcycle. It didn't look like he was, putting it through the ringer. But that's the beauty, I guess, of pro motocross, right? Any of these things can happen. There's so many very different variables at a motocross event that, managing your motorcycle is one of them, managing your health, managing the heat, managing the track. So that's par for the course of pro motocross,
Yeah, and we know, like, especially on the 250s, I mean, those guys, all the manufacturers, they're asking a lot out of those engines. They're made to run fast. They're not always made to last. I know one of my engineers at Honda used to say that. It's like, these things are made to run fast. They're not made to last.
Yeah, that's a good one.
You want them to last the whole race, but like you're exactly right. Sometimes you have to manage the bike in certain situations if they're going to run hot based upon what the track condition is like, and there's a lot of load on the bike, and the traction is pulling the bike down. That engine heat built up. I mean, so you take a guy like Deegan, or you take a guy like Eli. I mean, they ride their stuff at a very high RPM. If you're comparing it for the 450s, if you're comparing it to a guy like Jett, I will tell you the one that did surprise me, RV, is Coop, because I don't feel like Coop really rides his bike at a very high RPM, especially compared to Eli when you listen to him in the sound check. So that one was surprising to me. But if there's a lot of load, and I feel like there was a lot of load on the bikes, even Rob was telling you he felt like it was tough on the bikes, probably for that reason. The dirt was very heavy. You can create some engine temp pretty quick. Hey, I thought that Chase did good. It's Jalen Hart. Chase showed us he's got the speed. What's it going to take for someone else to challenge Jett? I thought he did good. Like, he seemed like he found his pace, especially late in the race on Moto 2.
Yes.
What do you think?
Yeah, no, I was first one, obviously not where he wanted to be, not where I expected him either. Moto 1, but Moto 2, when Jett came through the pack, obviously passed Chase. Chase was able to grab toe with him for quite a while. I thought that was, coming off the couch, I should say off the couch, coming off of, a little hiatus that he had since Paula. But I thought he rode really well. Obviously made a costly mistake with a couple turns to go. I think it was on white flag lap.
Yeah.
Right here coming into the sand rollers. He just pushed the front in the sand rollers, but no, that was encouraging from, at least from a fan's perspective, right? Like he was able to run, and I would say Jett was on, we've talked about it. Jett was on the gas. He was moving forward. He, at that particular moment, or like before he got into the lead, he still was in a position where he needed to get to the front if he was going to go 1-1. So Jett was riding, and he was on rails, and he was riding very well. So Chase was stuck toe with him for quite a while, which I thought was a big confidence booster for him, to be able to do that. Especially, like I said, only 2 motos into, since Paula. So I think that's that was exciting news to see, I think, for Chase.
Yeah, I did. Honestly, too, though, and that doesn't really surprise me how well he rode. I thought he was going to do better the first moto, just because I know he's a bad dude. But and I like, it didn't surprise me how well he rode the second moto. It sucks that he pushed the front in that corner there before the rollers, like you said. But again, he's going for it. He's going to push the limits, and just got a little high up on that rut, going into the corner, like quarter way through, just before the apex. But it doesn't surprise me he rode that well. And then getting behind, I mean, you know how it is, getting behind Jett like that. You find that speed and you make the adjustment, like mid-moto adjustment. It doesn't surprise me.
No, it shouldn't surprise us. No, I just think it was good to see a guy in his position to be able to, because let's be honest, we've been kind of hard on him in the past, and the difference was that I saw at that particular race was Jett was coming through the pack. It wasn't Chase and Jett 1-2 battle out of the gate. You got to stay with him for 30+2. I'm sure he was a little maybe shocked or didn't know where Jett was, and all of a sudden, boom, there he was, passes him. Now he's like, okay, I'm gonna grab toe with him. So I think it was probably an easier race to race from Chase's seat of in that second moto, was getting passed by Jett, then able to grab toe instead of starting off, because as you know, like gate drops 1-2, we got to run this pace for 30+2 and 0 mistakes. What the one mistake from me or the one mistake from Jett, you're mentally racing differently than he would have raced right there. So I think it was a good stepping stone getting back into hopefully running up front.
Hey, what'd you think of Prado this weekend?
I thought he rode well. I think that Jorge, especially in Moto 2, he led quite a few laps. I think that he's still learning, put it this way. I think I don't want to use the word underestimated our field, or our series or anything like that, but he's doing a lot of learning on a new bike. I expected him to do this sooner than he has. The riding that he showed at that he showed at RedBuuuuuud, I expected him to do that sooner than he has. But as a whole, I think it was a really good stepping stone for him. Definitely probably a confidence booster for him. Like it after a while, it gets old running around.
Right. Not at least not leading laps, especially for a multi-time world champ like him. Right. I agree with you. I think it's another good weekend. He showed us he gave us a little taste at Southwick, and he gave us a small little appetizer again this past weekend in RedBuuuuuud. And I think that we will continue to see. I shouldn't make predictions, but I feel like we're going to continue to see him do what he's doing. What he's done the last 2 weeks, and perhaps maybe get a little bit better. That's what I think.
And RC, you can probably you'll be able to answer this as well as I can too. And I think it comes down to our 1-day schedule for a guy like him that comes over. And we've kind of talked about it already, but like new bike, new team, new surroundings, living in the other side of the world too. One day to try to get everything dialed in is not what they're used to. So, they have a long day of practice and racing on Saturday at GPs, and then they turn around and do it all over on Sunday. So, I think that's the biggest thing, is just getting him used to the intensity, the high pace that we have from 7 a.m. when we wake up till the time the gates shut at RedBuud or any one of these nationals. Like it's you're on the move all day Saturday, and I think that's probably something he's trying to get used to.
What do you think, Justin Cooper? I want you to. What do you think about his ride? I thought he's pretty good.
Dude, Justin Cooper's I'm a fan of Justin. I like number one, I just like the way he rides the motorcycle on the track. Nothing super spectacular, but smooth and just he rides the 450 very well. And dude, he's been putting himself in great positions from mid Supercross till now. Like if I'm a team, he's like your second rider that it's a must have, right? Like he's a must have second rider because he has I think a win's around the corner if the day lines up correctly and a little mistake, say from Jett or whatever the case may be. I think the sucker can get a win. Moto win.
Yeah, I do. I agree with you because he gets good starts. Like you said, he rides the bike very efficiently. I think the 450 really suits his riding style. Or 250, you kind of have to you got to ride the crap out of those things, right? To get the best performance out of him, in my opinion. But the 450, I mean, he's such a light guy that he doesn't have to override the 450 and he can use the power to his advantage. And you're exactly right, dude. He has come on hard, like 3/4 of the way through Supercross, week in, week out, doing exactly what he needs to do, put himself in great positions. And again, this weekend doing well. I watched when I was watching the broadcast, when Chase Sexton came up to try to get by him, dude, Justin is very good at making it difficult for the guy to get by him. Like he'll block you. Like he's super intuitive on knowing where the guy is going to pass. So then he takes that line, dude. That's tough to get by a guy like that. That.
Yeah, it is. I guess it'd kind of be, I would use that for a guy that Brayton was kind of like that, right? Like he rode a wide bike. Trey was like that, rode a wide bike, not doing anything in particular on purpose, just kind of knowing where the main line is, knowing where the passing point could be. And he's just, they're always there. They make you go around them.
Yeah, right. If you're going to sweep around the outside, then they just go, boop, they move over to the outside. Yeah. You're like, damn it, dude. And then you go around, they go to the outside on the next one, the inside, they close the door on that. You're like, crap, man. that is a pain, as you know, dude. Like that sucks when you're trying to get by a guy to maybe get to the lead position. That is so frustrating, but you can't be, I mean, as a rider, that's what you're supposed to do. You're not supposed to roll over and let the guy go by.
No. And I think also too, when your closing rate is a little slower, let's say, right? Like you're not just motoring up on the guy and I think that's when it really makes it tough, when it takes you a lap or 2 or 3 laps to get to that guy, to bridge that gap, then to pass him is a whole nother ball game. Right. But if you're on a good clip and you can run that dude down in say half a lap or in 1 lap, you got a good pace going. Then if you can make sure that if Justin Cooper we're talking about doesn't hold you up and you get to him and you can strike on him right away and quickly, you can typically make that pass happen very quickly. But if it takes you 3 laps to bridge that gap, now when you get to him, it's a bit harder to pass.
Yeah, I want to give a massive shout out again, just like I did in Southwick. You did another great ride from RJ Hampshire. I mean, you touched on it in last week's pod, RV, but you're talking about a guy who, I go back to the Philly round where he was in question about not even racing, and then the red flag came out. Then the next thing you know, he's running up front and he's like, okay, well, damn, now I have to fight for this championship. His wrist was torched, and now you got a guy that switches from 250 to 450 and it doesn't have as much time on that bike as his competitors, the guys that he's racing and beating. That's hard to do. Not knowing, the ins and outs of the 450 and how it works in certain race situations, where these other guys, they kind of know, how their bike works and are set in on their bike settings. I think he's doing a hell of a job. I mean, he really, really is. And I just want to give that dude props, because we've been hard on him. A lot of people have been, in the analysis world, I wouldn't say hard, but critical of some of the mistakes he has made in the 250. But dude, that guy is over excelling on the 450, and it's damn cool to see.
Yep, I think exactly. Those RJ, Justin Cooper, those two, we got them right here, 3rd and 4th overall between those two, and not long ago were they in the 250, solely 250 class. And I honestly didn't. If you said, "Hey, predict this," I wouldn't predict that Justin Cooper or RJ Hampshire would be, 3rd and 4th overall, being top 5 450 guys currently right now, kind of right out of the gate, in this 450 Pro Motocross 450 championship. So yeah, RJ's riding really well. I think the 450. And we've talked about it a little bit before. He just doesn't have to ride the bike so hard because of the extra power that bike has. And I think it suits him well. Like, he's riding it well. He's not the typical RJ where we're seeing, where he's making big mistakes or little mistakes or a lot of mistakes per lap, because he's trying to squeeze every ounce of power out of the smaller bike.
Right. And I think too, RV, I think that he's going to get better as the season goes on, so long as he stays healthy. And the reason that I think he's going to get better, RV, is because, as you know, like, he's getting more time on the bike. He's knowing what adjustments do what. He's knowing where he needs to get it better, to get that comfort. And I anticipate, and how he never gives up. I think he sticks with it throughout the season, even if the season isn't going well. I mean, even Supercross is a great example of that. I think that he's going to continue to get better and better, fighting for podiums consistently. That's what I think. Moving along, last thing before we go to the Boxo breakdown, dude, I was super pumped to see it, and I want you to take this part of it. But the Ducati with your boy Tony Cairoli, great to have him over here. Awesome for the Ducati brand to be coming out in the US series, racing some races with Tony. Great to have him, an Italian brand. I thought it was cool. I thought it was a great debut. ALS 7078, opinion on the Ducati debut. Better than expected. Will Millville be better for them? Take it away, RV.
I think it's awesome to see another manufacturer. That's 10 manufacturers represented on the line this year in Pro Motocross. So that's huge for the sport. But also just to have like the Ducati name in Pro Motocross and Supercross here soon is phenomenal to see. And then you put Tony on it, the effort that Ducati and that they're going to show forth here soon, right? It was pretty, like, what I thought was kind of cool, and I guess was unexpected from Ducati, was how under the radar they went to RedBuud. I think they pitted right out of the factory connection truck, pretty low key, which I thought was kind of cool, right? Like he went there and all they're doing is gathering data, right? Gathering data on the motorcycle. To have another manufacturer, to have Ducati involved is rad. Obviously Second Moto didn't go as planned, but that's kind of what these are for right now, right? It's to figure out the chinks in the armor, where the bike needs work. Maybe what doesn't make it 30+2, which we saw multiple manufacturers have issues, this past weekend. So working out all those kinks, working out all those bugs, making sure they've crossed their T's and dotted their I's, for when they make their full push, full effort here in the US. So I'm stoked to see it. It's good to have Tony out racing. He's a massive name in MXGP, also here in the United States. So, and not a bad showing, dude. I couldn't do what he did. 14th was it 9th in Moto 1?
Yeah.
I couldn't do that. No way.
Hell no, dude. Think about it. He retired. What was it? 2 years ago. I mean,
A bit ago, yeah, maybe.
yeah, I think it's great, and especially on a hot weekend, dude. That even that makes it even more difficult. I thought he did great. It's tough to I mean, you know more about this than I do because I didn't race MXGPs like you did. So, but racing the Motocross of Nations and Park Formé compared to what we do, just different. Knowing the system, knowing how it works, and then the lack of time, like you talked about it with Prado. I thought I'm with you. I second you. I thought he did a great job, and I tell you, I'm excited to watch him at Millville. I anticipate, depending on the weather, I think that it'll go a bit better for him. It'll probably be a little bit more comfortable and get the bike dialed in a little bit more, and just being over here a little bit longer. I'm assuming he's staying over here the whole time. So I think he'll do. I think he'll do a little bit better. Maybe it won't be quite as hot. That'll be a little bit easier on him. I mean, he said on press day that he hadn't been able to do as many motos, because they had been testing and stuff like that. So I thought it was more than respect. There ain't no way in hell I'd have been able to do that.
No, and the cool thing too is from what they're saying. Aaron also put this in, is like it is a stock motorcycle. It's an OEM homologated, something that you would buy right off the showroom floor. So great showing on the Ducati side. If that 100% is true.
Yeah, if that is true, it was completely stock, dude. That was impressive.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, cool. Good job. Good job, TC. We're pumped for you. It's fun to watch. I watch him. I was like, dude, I can't believe you're still out there grinding. Damn. I am not envy. I know how we've talked about it in the past. Before we go to the Boxo breakdown, we got this next segment. It's going to be so much fun. I know we talk about how we're like envious of like the Tomacs and the Roxons of the world, how they're just racing into their older years and enjoying it, embracing what they're doing. And I don't know if I'm envious of TC, dude.
No, I think it's a bit tougher coming off the couch or being in his position as a test rider and then just jumping in. He did Matterley a few weeks ago, and now he did RedBuud, and so now that Millville will be his third gate drop at a very high level. So I predict that he'll be better than he was, at RedBuud. So it's gonna be interesting to see. Like I said, no matter how you look at it, it's just badass to have another manufacturer and have it be Ducati. With the motorcycle, with the dirt bike,
right? Yeah, no doubt. All right, moving on, dude. I'm pumped for this. You didn't get to see this. We were going through it right before we hopped on to hit record, and the Boxo breakdown this week is we're not really breaking down anyone's technique or riding, but we're gonna break down what Jett does. So, dude, I'm watching this. The end of the race. He takes the checkers, okay, and he's doing some hand gesture. Okay, we're watching right now. He comes over, takes a little finish line tabletop, and he's doing some stuff with his hands. I'm like, what the hell's he doing here? Revs the bike up, and then he comes around, gets on the start straight, and then he stands up, balancing the bike. He's doing this, whatever the heck. So we do. I'm like, it's almost like I walk like an Egyptian, So I'm like, what is that? So what turns out he was doing the Prado dance. All right. And so for you guys that don't know what that is, and supposedly this is hot on TikTok right now. It's an Indonesian festival that is highlighted by these awesome canoe racers. So like you can see right here, well, you can't see if you're listening to the audio version, but you're watching it. Canoes with 50 to 60 people and the kids acting as helmsmen standing on the front of the boat. Well, supposedly the goat of the canoe dancer is this kid that they call the Reaper.
Right here.
And our edit team put together a killer edit. So there you can, the Prado dance. See my man on the front. And that is as real as it gets, RV, right there. Like I thought that was fake news at first.
Yeah, just so clean. He's got the swag going right there,
He does. So I'm like, oh, well, dude, I've never even heard of that, seen that. It's like what we learned from these kids. So I like what Jett did, but Hector, roll this edit. Check this out. Look at my man on the boat right here. So that's what he did. And so you guys, if you're watching this live again, you're seeing where Jett got this from. The Jalur dance from the Reaper, the GOAT helmsman, younger kid. Check out the balance he's got, dude.
I know. I know. It's pretty cool. Like that kid, obviously it went viral over the last 2 or 3 days. I saw Jett do it. I didn't really put 2 and 2 together, and maybe I hadn't even seen the viral part of it on Instagram or TikTok or anything like that of the Reaper. And then Jett does it, and then it all comes out. It's all over Instagram, TikTok. I think it goes together just perfect. These they both have the swag. I mean, what 18th to 1st gets the overall. I think it fits perfect for Jett.
Yeah, that's good, man. The Jalur. That's good. I'm surprised my kids didn't give me a heads up on it, like, because they watch the broadcasts and they're on TikTok and all that crap. So I'm like, well, I thought it was good. But when I was in the airport watching, I'm like, what in the world is this dude doing?
Yeah.
I didn't know if he was making fun of somebody, but that was cool. Well played, Jetson. You're a legend, dude. Before we go to the 250 recap, so I was watching the Vital stuff, and Lewis was talking to Sexton. I hadn't talked to him since he had come back, and we have the sound on tape there. Can you roll that, please?
After I lost my goggles, and then I went down, was banged up, and after that I was like, all right, it's time to take some time off and kind of regroup. And honestly, I just needed a little bit of a disconnect. But yeah, I was definitely dealing with some stuff. I've been really vague, but to be honest, I just kind of like keeping that stuff private. Like I said, I needed that time off, and I don't think the season's so long, and there's so much stuff going on, and then you wait to the off season, and then you have a month off, and you're back to training. So there's not really much time off to kind of recover and fix the stuff that you are struggling with. And then after I fell, obviously I'm 50 points down. There's no point in me coming back. I don't know. I came into outdoors. I was obviously wanting to do good and ready to go, but I was just dealing with some stuff, and I came in super unprepared. I feel like every year, like for me, I'm either good at Supercross or good at outdoor. It's hard to be really good for both. Just with like the lack of time and prep, obviously was tough. So
that was before the weekend, and I watched it. I watched it on the morning before the race, and I like. Wait, like what do you? Gather?
I think it was very vague. Number one, obviously it was vague, didn't give us a whole lot of information. But I kind of look at it too. If I'm reading between the lines, I'm saying that because this is why I go back all the way into Supercross. Why he started wearing his hat backwards, right? Started wearing his hat backwards in Supercross, and we all know that he's leaving Red Bull KTM. He's going to depart there, head over to the Factory Cowie team after SMX. So to me, that was an answer that was, he's kind of checked out, moved on, ready for the new challenge, the new team. But you're mid-season, so that's what I don't know what to say about, because I mean, this isn't your first rodeo. Like, that there's 17 plus 11 plus 3 SMXs and Motocross the Nation. Like that's nothing new. So if you want to be a contender in both championships in the same year, you have to prepare yourself for Supercross, knowing that Supercross is going to go into the 11th hour. Typically, if you're racing Jett, if you're a front runner, it typically goes down into the 11th hour, and championships wrapped up. But 3 weeks later, you start your pro motocross championship. I know you did it, RC. I did it many years. Was able to do back to back. So I think that's somewhere he needs to work on that, because that's not going away, and Cowie's going to expect just the same thing that Red Bull expected: the Supercross championship and a motocross championship. And you fight to the end in both of them, and you give her hell, and however it ends up happening, whoever wins. But pulling the goggles off. I did see another interview that he said that a pretty good sized rock hit his helmet or up here close to his face. So that being said, like I understand he was trying to get a couple laps into the race at Paula to let everybody kind of space out. But I personally you can't afford to do that with these motorcycles now with these tracks. Like you only have two eyes, and as far as I know, they can't replace it with anything that works just as good as the one God gave you. So I'd probably should have, like he said, I should have pulled in. So yeah, definitely should have pulled in. And like he said, I probably wouldn't have fell if I had my goggles.
Yeah. Yeah. Vague for sure. I second you on that. I don't know. Like, if you're a Chase Sexton fan, you're not going to like this, but RV, like you said it, you're paid to contend for the championship in Supercross and outdoor. Now we have 3 playoff rounds. It's 31 races. You and I raced 28 races for the championship. I think we had 16 and 12 maybe. So there you go. You do the math. You guys know what that is. So, I mean, we're talking 3 extra races for the playoffs, which overall isn't that much. You have the Motocross of Nations, but at the end of the day, I mean, these guys have the trainers, the team personnel, the managers, they have good people around them. And for me, like it was my job, it was your job to be ready for Supercross and Motocross, no ifs, ands, or buts. So it's tough for me. I don't understand. Well, number one, I don't know what's going on. If something behind the scenes is happening, that's probably what's going on that we don't know about. So I want to tread lightly on what I say, but all I know is at that level, and you said it perfectly, they expect you to be ready for 31 races. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. That's why you get paid millions and millions of dollars to be ready. Focus your training, focus your testing on said championships, and you make the adjustments necessary so that you are the best guy for the 31 races. That's simple as it, dude. That is as simple as it gets. I know I would have been that way. I know you would have been that way. Like, it just is what it is. You have to be the best you can all season long. And if that means that you have to adjust your training off the bike, you have to adjust your training on the bike, you have to do testing at certain times, dude, like it's different for everybody. I would have handled it differently than you would have, or than Chase has, or than Stu did, or than Chad did in my day. But everyone has their program. It's your job and your team's job to figure out that balance to get it right, so you're the best guy.
I agree. So yeah, like we both said, vague on information. And if there is something going behind the scenes, it'd be, I'm sure we'd all like to know, right? So that we have a clearer view of what he's dealing with. But I also know, and too, that we keep a lot of secrets inside this sport, which is really here nor there. It's how you decide to run your program.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, hopefully, like behind the scenes, like nothing is serious, like he's okay health-wise, mental health-wise, and stuff like that. Like, not trying to be, want to be compassionate towards his mental health there if there's something going on. But all I know is I don't care who you are. You got to find the right balance to where you can go and be the best for all series. And like you said, it's been that way for years, and it ain't changing.
And what we do know is it is a pressure cooker. It's it's 31 races, 32 races. That is what makes the special athletes become great, because they're able to handle the pressure and all of the outside noise and racing basically year round.
That's why it's so special. Like you just said, you talk about the greats. That's why it is so special when you see guys to be able to win the Supercross championship and then the Motocross championship. And now we have the playoffs. So you'll see that continue. And so that's what makes those guys special. It takes a special person to be able to manage all that especially multiple years, like yourself, like you did, or, So anyhow, moving along, dude, how about your boy, Joe?
Dude, he rode phenomenal. He really did put himself in great positions off the start, both motos. But he was on rails, man. Like he for sure at RedBuuuuuud, both motos had everybody's number that day. Obviously Hayden with a crash in practice, bruised up his thigh area and things like that. But I personally think that it's been coming for Joe. He's been riding well. And dude, he had a perfect day at RedBuuuuuud, 1-1 on the day, which was awesome to see. Great person for it to happen to too. But just, his speed, he had the speed and he was smart. He rode and he zero mistakes all day from Joe.
Yeah, it was definitely, I mean, I want to say something about Joe. I feel like, and I don't know, maybe I'm just like thinking of, and he's had incredible rides when it is in these conditions, but I feel like when it's hot and like pressure cooker, like it just, dudes are melting down. I feel like Joe, dude, that guy, like, he's like a cockroach. You can't kill him, dude. He's right, dude. He's like, dudes are melting down and Joe just keeps on going. It's like, this dude's in shape, bro, or he can handle the heat one. I don't know, but whatever. But I think he rises up in these situations, dude.
He does. It was warm out there, but like just as a whole, like his latter part of Supercross, he was getting better. Obviously, he was dealing with the early finger injury early in Supercross, but and I've said this before, probably last year on our shows, this is what I expect from Joe, though. This is what I expect from Joe. Joe should be in this position, and maybe it's not 1-1. On the weekend, but top 3 every single weekend. He has the speed. He's mentally fit. He's mentally strong.
Yeah.
And he's got the skills on the motorcycle to be first through third every single weekend. So what I want to see from Jett or from Joe is for him to maintain this ride, this wave that he's on till the end of Supercross into SMX. Because I think that's one thing that he's missing is a string of stringing together a bunch of races that he's feeling good, that he's positioning well, that he's riding well, to go to that next level, and without any hiccups. So I hope that he keeps doing what he's doing, to see the ceiling, see where his ceiling is.
Yeah, dude. I think he can do it, especially if it's hot. I think he's good. I think the Hondas are working well, 250 and 450. But dude, we gotta talk about it. We chewed up a lot of time on the 450 stuff. But Spike Dog 315. What do you think Deegan's issues were this week? Overriding or just a bad week? Where are you at with it, RV?
Yeah, we saw him crash in practice right here. Lands, just get a little 2-wheel slide a little bit, front wheel. It looks like he landed on like the thigh area, femur area on the bar. So Charlie horse is kind of what I had heard. Yeah. I guess it is a little untypical for a fall like that for that to rattle his cage. I feel like Hayden is one of the best crashers out there, meaning like save. He when he does crash, he bounces up pretty quickly. He looked a little, I guess, a little more defeated this weekend from his falls, from his crashes. Don't know what that could be from, but it was, I guess, not typical of him to see him on the ground as many times as we did.
Yeah, maybe it was. Maybe it was from the Charlie horse. I'm not sure. And I've been thinking about like the best way to say this. So this is what, hopefully everything's okay. Not sure why he had the weekend that he did. Maybe it was just a bad weekend. I remember my rookie year, like when I went there, dude, I sucked. I crashed multiple times. I barely got on the podium. Like it was just a tough weekend. Even the best guys just have challenging weekends. I know you did. I know I did. Everyone has. And it just, we're all human. I think a weekend like this sometimes, like looking down the road is good for riders, whether it's Jett, whether it's Chase, whether it's Eli, any guys, any riders that win multiple times or win so much. It's good to have a weekend like this because I think it does show you that, you are human and can happen. And, you know, you kind of get your mind back focused again. It's like brings you back down to reality. And I think he rebounds. I'm calling it here. I think he rebounds, and I think it's going to be hell to pay for the rest of the crew, at least next weekend. Seems like anytime he's had a crappy weekend, dude, his rebound is like, you know, is gnarly. I mean,
I think that's
Colorado.
what it is, RC, right? Like that's what it is the rebound part of it. And he's in this position of us talking about this right now, of making call it in my eyes a pretty weekend for Hayden, because he's been so good leading up. He's won a ton of races. He's typically the fastest guy. He's typically got the fastest lap time, and he's winning and blah, 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 blah. So, yeah, we're highlighting the mistakes that Hayden made, but you said it's almost like a reset from him. Like it's going to be interesting to see and you predict the rebound's going to be a big rebound, and I think it's going to be a rebound also.
Colorado was. I mean, remember after Colorado, dude, he put on a free.
And you kind of need that, right? Like you need that, like put yourself in check. Okay, you know, it can happen even if it wasn't necessarily me or this or that or whatever the case may be. You are, you know, human, put it that way. So
that's right. Yeah. Dude, he's a mere mortal. And, it just, yeah, I think weekends like this end up doing the riders good in the long run, because again, it brings them back down, and because you can be riding this high and you feel untouchable, unstoppable. And there are still great riders out there. And I think that this will just keep you motivated. And I think that he'll rebound from this just fine. I chalk it up as a bad weekend, but I can tell you who didn't have a bad weekend. Dude, another impressive ride. He did well at the opener, or his opener, I should say, at Mount Morris. Then he rode well at Southwick. And then this weekend, getting on the podium, Jalek. I mean, a hell of a job. And thinking about that, coming off the Achilles, you know, he isn't in race shape. He's going to continue to get better, but just an incredible ride. Like, let's hear Social Jimmy D asks, what lit a fire under Swoll's 6 lately? And myself personally, I mean, you know, I just think he wants to show everybody just, you know, the speed that he has and what his capabilities are, and, you know, like to not overlook him. I'm just, you know, that's what I'm thinking. That's what I would want to do, because he's gotten some heat on social media. We actually have a post. He lit up some folks on the podium. Roll that sound clip.
Yeah, I seen a lot of comments about it was a waste of money when I got re-signed. I wonder if I'm still a waste of money. But, yeah.
yeah,
I think he's doing great, straight up. For as much time as he took off, RV, well, like, where you stand with it, dude?
I think same. I think that he's underperformed as a whole, put it this way. So I believe that he's backed himself into a corner from an overall standpoint of his 250 or this 250 career over at Triumph. So he needs to produce. Great finishes and good rides, and I think that's what he's doing. I feel like he feels probably some of the pressure, and maybe a lot of the pressure is just coming from him. Like, hey, I know I can run up front, and I know I can do well in this class. Now, what's even more phenomenal is I never dealt with an Achilles injury, but it seems like that thing's contagious recently. Yeah. Achilles injuries, but that's a gnarly injury to come back from. Shorter, he didn't. You know, it was a shorter recovery time than I think the average for Jalek. But dude, to come out and go, you know, there at RedBuuuuuud, I know he's had a couple good rides, like you said. Last week was a pretty good showing for him, but he ends up second overall on a very, very tough track, hot day, like you said, probably not fully fit. You know, actually, both the Triumph boys, I think Harp was a Harp too, like Harp, yeah, like they both got off the line well. The bikes were working damn well at that track.
They got killer starts.
Yeah, like I think maybe that whole thing's kind of coming together, right? More seat time. The team is getting.
They made a couple improvements too on the bike. Improvement got some more coming. So
Yeah, exactly. So like that whole thing's kind of coming together, and also it's nice, especially from the team standpoint. Okay, we're working, we're giving you more power, we're making the bike better, or whatever they're doing, it's working. And then to have two riders like that show up and put the bike to the test, show that it's actually in the right direction. That's huge. So I think Jalek rode phenomenal at RedBud for not having so many gate drops, and dude, the kid's talented. So back to what I'll say is I want to see more of that. I want to see more of that from Jalek, and the consistency. I think one thing for him, he showed in the past that he's had great speed, but very inconsistent. So now if he can get this ball rolling, and it seems like the ball's rolling, if he can keep that thing rolling and be consistent and just run the rest of the season out of pro motocross, and then have a great showing in SMX.
Yep. 100%. Good stuff. Hey, can we throw up the 250 point standings before we go to the Dunlop debate? And here you go, points. So what was a bad weekend for, we say a bad weekend for Hayden. Loses a few points, but still, dude, 38 point lead over Joe, then 85 over Kitchen. Vial's back there, 88. Vial had a rough weekend. But yeah, it's nothing too tight. Nothing too tight. So.
No, it's pretty stretched out at this point, like something as big's gonna have to happen. Like, I mean, Joe's the closest, right? 38 points down off Hayden. So something's going to have to happen, in my opinion. Yeah. If not, Hayden can pretty much ride this thing out with consistent, top threes, wins, and things like that. But so it's still anybody's game at this point, because we know it's pro motocross. We lost some bikes this last weekend. We've lost some bikes a couple weeks ago too. So like I said, anything can happen.
Well, that's right. And that's two relatively hot weekends in a row. So maybe the hot weather is trending, and I don't know, it'd be good. I love a hot outdoor race, dude. I think that's what makes pro motocross. The hotter, the better, dude. I love it.
I mean, that's typically what we all go to, pro motocross. That's one thing. Yes, it's long motos and the heat. What are we going to, and weather, I should say, is it going to be a mutter or is it going to be a scorcher? And anything in the middle, everybody's stoked.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Dunlop debate. Oh, this is a good one, RV. I can't wait to hear what you got. So, Ward_Griffiths. Do you agree with Gypsy on banning the paddle tires? And next time we have Gypsy on, we can have this conversation. I know he's, posted a lot on his socials and talked about it a lot on his podcast. And so let me ask you, do you agree with Gypsy that they should ban the paddle?
I want to know from his perspective, or like why of the ban of the paddle, right? Like, I think there's other areas that we could maybe pinpoint. Like,
he thinks it makes basically, and I'm ad-libbing here, is like he thinks that it makes the track 2-1 line and you can't move around enough on the tire.
I mean, look,
so it sounds like you're saying no.
Yeah, like, okay, so I'm thinking like, okay, if the track's like that, we'll go, why not let's talk about starting devices, for example. Like, if we get rid of starting devices, that's going to change up massively on the line. Right?
I think that should go. If you're talking about what should be banned, I think the starting devices should be banned before the tire. That's right.
Well, I don't think the tire, to me, I don't think the tire is making the track one line. I think it's how the track is prepped and the dirt that we're riding on and how much water goes into it. And like I said, how deep they're ripping it, and maybe they're ripping it too deep. I mean, if you can go back, go to YouTube.
I think they're ripped too deep, in my opinion.
Yep. So go back and watch your era, like that. So that 05, 06, because we overlapped for a year or two there, 05, 06, and then into 07, right? Like the tracks you could move around on more. That's because they put less water and were ripping it less. I don't see the tire making the track being ruddy. It's how the track's prepped. Now, if you want to go in and so like I said, starting devices, like, that's another topic that you could throw out there and say, well, we could get rid of that versus the tire. I think if you get rid of starting devices, you're going to have way more things change behind the gate, or maybe for the better, or for the worse, whatever the case may be, it's going to change way more drastically than getting rid of the paddle tire. I don't see, if they didn't show up with the paddle tire at RedBud this last week, everybody's going to go and run the tire that's next best in line, right?
Yeah.
Like if you show up and say, hey guys, you're not doing starting devices, everybody's going to melt. They're going to be like, what? How are we supposed to get off the line? These bikes have X amount of power and blah, 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 the great, the this. And personally, before the tire and the starting device, I would say get rid of the grates.
And if you don't, to your point about if you don't dig the track so deep, then you don't need the paddle tire.
Yeah.
Right? So you don't need, you don't need it.
But this is what I will say about that, though. I think that the tracks being ripped deep slows the pace down, and I personally believe that either the track needs to be ripped super deep so our speed levels are slower, or we need to change the tracks a little bit to where the straightaways aren't so long.
Exactly.
And don't hit the speeds that we hit. Go back to and make it a little more technical.
That's my vote is slow the tracks down by putting less straightaways in, put more corners in, gives you more opportunities to make up time. Guys don't have to go wide open for so long. That way, if something happens and they, God forbid, they do crash, they don't, they're not going as fast. That would be my change. Rip it less and slow them down by putting more corners in there and less the length, shorten the straightaways. That's what I think. And then the start devices, I think.
So I mean, look, we can debate that all day. Start devices, greats, this, that, the next. I personally think I love pro motocross because, and also for supercross, like I've talked about this many, many times, where to incentivize the guy in time practice, right, for your gate pick. Well, there's not a whole lot of incentivizing anymore for time practice because they're all on grates. RC, you've raced Phoenix many, many times, and so have I. Like, we'd go down to the gate sometimes at Phoenix Supercross, and there would be 4 good gates out of 22. The rest were blue.
Oh, dude, big time. Yeah.
Like, I'm talking blue groove. You've seen it. Like, I'm talking to the fans right now. I'm talking blue groove ruts that had rubber inside the ruts, and you have 3 or 4 good gates to choose from.
Oh yeah, dude. There was only maybe on a good day there would be 5, but rarely was that. Rarely was that, dude. It was.
So I think that is something for me that's number one to get rid of, would be the grate itself. And then you could talk tires later. You could talk starting devices at that point. But the 2 big kickers for me is the grate, and then slowing the tracks down, making it so where it's more technical. The speeds aren't as high, and I think you potentially could see some better racing.
Yeah, I think so, for sure. I remember a couple times at some of the tracks that they didn't till it up so deep. It definitely, it was faster, but the bikes were slower back then there. So, but to what you were saying, though, you definitely could move around a lot more. And it was nice. It was like, sweet, dude. You saw, like, you're not married to this one line. And then again, you wouldn't have to have the paddle. So what? But
as ruddy and soft as RedBud was, I thought that like you mentioned at the opener of the show, that track raced really well. You had outsides that worked. I saw passes from the outside. I saw passes from the inside. I saw guys being able to come down some of the hills and go from the left to the right. I thought that track
guys were on paddles, so it wasn't super one line. They had the paddle on. It didn't make that track one line, right? I think you're right. I think it's more about prep. It's more of how you prep it rather than the tire making it one line. I agree with you on that.
Mm-hmm.
Good one. We have to get Gypsy on here, and you guys can.
Yeah, get Jason.
Yeah, we go back and forth on that. But see, now he's going to listen to this, and he's going to do all this data and all that fun stuff. But it'll still be fun to have him. All right. So the last but not least, every week, Quad Lock question of the week. Thanks to Quad Lock for giving out swag, and everyone has been super stoked. But the winner this week is Paul and I think it. Pauline.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah, just something. I don't know. I don't have my reading glasses on, but
yeah.
There's probably a couple ways you could say. Anyhow, Paul and I wins And the question this week is, why won't American manufacturers make dirt bikes and start a factory team? Well, I could give you probably like 200 million reasons why to start with.
Well, first of all, we need an American manufacturer, something that's actually in the realm of what we do. Number one, which the only one that I can pull out off the top of my head right now is Cobra motorcycles.
Yeah.
You have Harley, that's kind of American, but they're not in our realm of racing.
Polaris.
I guess Polaris, yeah. I guess they need to personally they need to stick to what they're good at. And that's making side by sides.
I kind of got it right. Poly Nye.
Yep.
There you go. Got it right.
So I don't know. Like you said, RC, that's a huge
Indian.
Indian. But like
they're owned by Polaris.
We go back to, look, we've seen Triumph now stepping in with a new manufacturer, new motorcycle, not new manufacturer from that standpoint, but a new product line. Ducati, same thing. I think the number one, you better have a budget that's massive and backing. It's and put it this way now I think I read it off earlier in the show. There's 10 manufacturers. Yeah, could we use some more? I think that would be cool. But also we're at the top. We're at the most manufacturers we've ever had. And for somebody to step in to go race pro motocross and supercross, like that's a huge undertaking. I don't even know where to start.
Yeah, and it is, and it's based on metrics, sales. What does that look like? Long-term growth. Where's the sport at? Yeah, it's in great hands, but just the commitment level that it takes to build a motorcycle, and if you don't already have that infrastructure, it's hard to just start up and say, okay, we're going to make dirt bikes. Like you talked about it. I mean, Ducati, they have some infrastructure. Triumph has infrastructure. So that's why it would be a little bit easier for those guys to get into the marketplace, because they already have manufacturing facilities, all that fun stuff. I mean, it's just, there's a million things that go into it. And like RV said, Paulie, I mean, we could talk all day about it, but I mean, it just has to make business sense, as you probably already know. And, I think it's easier when you already have the infrastructure there, and then you can just add a new segment to the line. And even when you still have all that infrastructure, it's still a hell of an investment from the company side. Big. I do think there's potential for a lot of growth. There's no doubt about that. But I still think you have to have, there already has to be some manufacturing of motorcycles to some certain extent. That's what
Yeah. And like, put it this way, we're still missing, at least to my knowledge, and I'm sure there's maybe a couple more, but let's throw TM in there, right? TM doesn't have a race team in the United States. They do race in Europe, and they race in Italy and in MXGPs. Fantic, right? Fantic is another brand that licenses. It's basically a glorified Yamaha. They call it Fantic. I believe it's maybe Italian also. So there's some other ones out there, right? There's some other ones out there, and is it French? Okay, yeah, French. So I think that there's still manufacturers that are currently at the table that are currently out there that could come to the table.
100%. Well, there you go, Paulie Nye. Congratulations, you are the quad lock winner. Before we get going, we got to show you what's on NBC this week. SMX on NBC, I should say. Insiders, 3 p.m. Eastern, YouTube, Weege and Jason Thomas. Saturday, 11 a.m. Eastern time, race day qualifying. That'll be live on Peacock, 2 p.m. Eastern, Pro Motocross, round 7. Millville, Spring Creek National, live on Peacock. And then Sunday, it'll be an encore presentation at 12 p.m. Eastern. Will be on USA Network. And then 2 p.m. Eastern time, IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship, the Canadian Tire, as in Canada, at the Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. So good weekend of racing. Looking forward to the Pro Motocross race. Dude, Millville was awesome. I've always loved racing there. It's just a great racetrack. Very similar, I feel like, RV to RedBuud. A lot of elements, insides, outsides, fun jumps, some intermediate dirt, some sand. The sand rollers there at Millville, and the Martins do a great job too, just like the Richies do. One of the best ones, a staple racetrack in the U.S.
Yeah, it is. The Millville's a rad place to go and watch from a spectator's perspective, but also as a racer. RC, we never got to race Mount Martin. It wasn't around when we were racing, but that's a massive, awesome place to watch from. But also, I think that track brings in a lot of different elements, right? Like
it does. It does.
You have the sand. You have some sections on the one side of the track that are a little bit slower, tighter, but then you have the amount of force that's coming that goes through the bike, through your arms, through the body, coming down that hill. Then you throw in the whoop monster and the sand whoop section in the back. It's a tough place, but awesome place to go ride and a race, I should say. And I actually did a Blue Crew event there.
You did?
2 weeks ago. Yeah, it was. But it never had been to Millville with only like say 200 people, right? So it was just beautiful ground, and got the creek running through. I did some fishing and riding, and yeah, it was just a lot of fun. So looking forward to Millville, that's for sure.
Heck yeah, Millville's going to be awesome. So, what are you all packed up? Like,
I'm pretty much packed up. I got to get my clothes and I got to load the bikes, and other than that, I'm 30-hour run tomorrow.
Wow. Dude, were you 30? Wait, really?
It's like 28 hours, they say, but that's without fuel.
What time you getting up? What time you leaving?
I think I'm going to try to leave at 7 a.m.
You gonna let the traffic get prime time traffic?
Yeah, hopefully I'm going away from it. I'm not going to LA. I'm going the other direction. But yeah, it'll be myself and 3 8-year-old boys. So it's going to be a long 30 hours.
3?
Yeah, I'm bringing our little buddy Ezra Armbruster with us. And
okay.
His dad's going to follow behind us a couple days later. So
cool.
We'll see, man. We'll see who's hungry, who's fighting, how many times I got to stop and deal with.
You'll be good because you brought a friend, but and so the twins won't be arguing amongst this. All right. Fans, we appreciate all the love and interaction that you give RV and I communicating with us on Title 24. We enjoy what we do, and thanks for hopping along with us. And I know we're two old retired guys, but we have a fun time at what we do. We do this because we love to do it. So thank you for all the support. We appreciate you guys. We also appreciate our great sponsors, United Motorsports, Quad Lock, Boxo, Dunlop, Cardo. Remember, we are on Peacock. The Move, Lance Armstrong's podcast, is on Peacock as well. So I'm tuned in on that because, as you guys know, the Tour de France is going on. So I got some stuff to watch in the morning now, which is really nice. But we're on demand on Peacock, Motorsports on NBC's YouTube page as well. And then, of course, all the applications for your favorite podcast, we're there as well. So we appreciate you guys, as always. Drive safe over to the East Coast, RV, and we will talk to you guys next time.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Hi, folks. Lee Diffie from NBC Sports here. If you truly enjoyed what you just watched, you can get more news, interviews, and highlights by subscribing to the Motorsports on NBC YouTube page. You can get it all, so go for it.